Hello mourners, Andrew here. Before we get started, I would like to thank the band Funeral for giving us this amazing opportunity to review the new album Gospel of Bones. And of course, links to all of your funeral needs will be in the description. Now, on with the review. Hello and welcome to the Dirge of Mourning. I am your host Andrew alongside Terry. And today we have something awesome.
Yeah.
We get to review the brand new Funeral album. And the release date is set for the 18th of October and the album is entitled Gospel of Bones.
I just love that.
It is a fantastic title.
This is so exclusive and so wonderful that we got this opportunity to do this. I would just like to say thank you, Funeral, for allowing us to do this.
I am truly honoured, and without any further ado, mourners, this album is pretty much what happens when you take 3 years and combine all of your grief into one album. The rough story, of course, here is one of loss and tragedy of loved ones that are no longer with us. Starts off with a funeral bell in the background, slowly getting louder and louder. And then the music itself is just absolutely mournful. The sorrow that is in the violin.
Yes.
Exquisite.
Yes, I definitely enjoyed the violin. I thought it was extremely good.
When the music finally does kick in, it's almost like a shovel hitting the dirt for the first time. It just gets right in there, straight to the point, no bullshit.
That's a good metaphor there, mister.
The vocals are obviously accompanied alongside the riff. That is the intro here.
Well, the voices also are male and female in this one.
Yes. So both voices are fantastic here.
Yes.
We have a combination of, like you said, both male and female. There is a sense that each word that is spoken has true pain attached to it. It's just raw emotion.
It's also got a very majestic sound to it. It's a very grand scale sort of song. Like, to me, it sounded grand.
Yes.
And there's one thing I would like to mention about the voices and the way the music's going. And I've been using, I believe, the wrong term for this. I've been calling them rounds. I think they're canon. So, canon is slightly different than a round, but we all know what a round is, you know. Frere Jacques, are you sleeping, blah, 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 3 blind mice. But this is on a different sort of scale. So when a canon happens, it doesn't have to repeat the exact same words. It can be a different sort of thing creeping in.
Yes.
But it's like a round, but it's called a cannon. So I believe that's what this song is using. I'm not 100% sure about that.
Because
if
the
anybody knows, please let us know.
Yes,
so we're using the right term.
So there is a specific piece here where you are taken back by its majestic quality in terms of music.
Yes.
Where it starts at 3 minutes and 18 seconds in until about 4 minutes. The violin, the piano, all of these pieces come together and add such a fantastic atmosphere that you are almost left in awe of the musicianship that is ultimately on display here in this track.
That's how I felt. I definitely felt like that.
Soft, gentle guitars are played as the vocals come in with a commanding presence. That's how this one starts off, emphasizing the whole grandstand of this album is really solidified in this. There is heavy, but it's also sad. It's majestic, but melancholy. These themes will obviously continue running throughout the album, but I would say that they are really highlighted a little bit more in this particular song than they were in the previous one.
Right.
We also have great vocal tones in here. Like I said, a very commanding presence, one that you must pay attention to.
Yeah, this was a different type of delivery of the words, if I'm remembering correctly. So what it did for me, the type of delivery emphasized lyrics. Now, I know we're not going to chat about the lyrics yet, but the type of delivery is part of the whole musical sound.
Right. Now, I could easily see this piece of music being, reconstructed to be more of an orchestrational piece, or perhaps acoustic.
Right. Well, I thought it would be a good song for a funeral.
For
a solo singer at a funeral, because, ta-da, there you got it.
Funnily enough, I mentioned the same thing in my notes here as well, that this piece could easily be used for a funeral. And yes, the pun is intended. Now, keep in mind, guys, that we have actually reviewed this song not too long ago. And if you want a little bit more of an in-depth look at that one, I suggest you go and look up our review that we did about 9 months ago. I will obviously link it in the description as well. But just a brief going over here. What we have is a bombastic sound. Very classical funeral style of opening here. It's very grand, very dark and ominous, but beautiful.
Well, I wrote the word beautiful too. The thing that I liked the most was the very strong male voice, very deep voice. That's what I like about it.
And the best part is that opening is I compared it to this idea of digging the grave even deeper when it's driving force. And that's only within the first 30 seconds. So could you imagine how this is going to get when you listen to the full thing? An eerie, dark, more emotional impact in these opening strings. You get this sense of that the impending doom is real. There is no fakery here. This is what doom sounds like.
Yes, this sounds like a procession, and I really liked the guitar. I definitely liked that. But it's like a procession to me.
Yeah. Plus, this particular song is perhaps their most metal in terms of how it overall feels.
Yeah.
Because you've got excellent solo work, absolutely perfect, strong vocals. I could see played for people who aren't quite sure whether or not they would be into this kind of music. you could definitely give them, a
Right.
little shot of this.
If they were familiar with metal, this one would be a good one to show them, or let them hear, because it does have that.
I'm simply just going to put it down like this. Because this is an instrumental, this is literally what came to mind while listening to this absolutely heartbreaking piece of music. I hope you're dressed for a funeral, because that's what this piece of fantastic music.
Well, and I love that in the title, I cannot pronounce the actual first word, but Alos Lullaby. So it is a lullaby. To me, what I wrote and what I felt was extreme sadness and longing. Just a longing.
Yep.
So, that's
it's a perfect piece to send someone that you love off to. Again, not gonna linger on with this one. This is a song that just simply needs to be praised as such. I am going to retitle this track as Burial Business. Because that's what it's like. When this ultimately kicks in, holy fuck.
This is the bare bones of it.
This is why funeral are at the top of any conversation when in terms of doom metal.
Yeah.
Whether you want to call it this, that, or the next thing.
Yeah.
They are at the top of the heap. And this
is great.
This track.
This track is fantastic.
And of course, let's not forget that we just reviewed this about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, I do suggest you guys go and check that one out as well. Get a much more rounded picture of what's going on.
Well, and this one has a really good video that they put out, and it just blows you away. You can see in here, and it got the approval of my son, so that means a lot because he's extremely critical. So because he gave it a thumbs up and really enjoyed it, I'm saying, yeah, this is a really good song.
The last foot of the grave has now been dug. With this one, the painful riff that can only be truly accompanied by just a fantastic... Words escape the true, depths of the vocals here.
Yeah, this was where I said to you, the vocals in this sounded different to me and sounded kind of like the weird kind of like Beatles. Right. And I'm not sure why I thought that, but if you listen, I think you'll know what I mean. Not the early Beatles, but in their weird phase. I think that is, I don't know why, it's just sort of hinting to me that sort of sound, but...
Well, you're saying that because I had to take a double take, because I thought the guy was British.
Right. And, yeah.
Turns out, the special vocalist on this is Norwegian.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy fuck.
Right.
Okay, Jesus fucking Christ, because the whole dynamic of this guy's voice is incredible.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, this is
just a guest vocalist who is able to pull off some of the best sounding sad shit I've heard in a while.
Yeah, there's a lot of intricacies here. This is a very interesting song.
It is.
It's different sounding than the others. They all do sound slightly different, but just listen to this.
Yeah, plus the overall sound this is a downward spiral of emotions. Yeah. This is the breakdown of feelings, not knowing where to turn. The expression musically is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, and it will truly break all hearts of men. So the mournful opening signifies the moment that the coffin is slowly lowered in a symphonic opening that could only be matched by its overall depressingly executed doom. I have no earthly way of describing heartache like this.
This, to me, sounded, with music, very traditional sound of Funeral Doom. To me. It was very traditional.
There is that there. There is that. But I think it has a little bit more oomph to it.
Well, it's describing a ceremony, which we will get into later, but to me it just had a very traditional sound. So I think that goes with what the song is about.
Well, you're talking about the tradition of sound. I'll add the complexity here. Because while, yes, it follows that format that we all have come to know and love from Funeral, there is, like I said, this level that goes beyond what we're used to with these guys.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not trying to diminish it. I'm just saying it has that traditional
classic style.
Yeah, yes. That might be a better term, classic style of Funeral Doom in it.
It is genuinely a well-sculpted masterpiece. It just is. Okay, first off, I'm going to take the reins here, and I'm going to just leave Terry for a second because I need to get this off my chest. Fuck you guys. Fuck you guys for making me fucking cry.
Yeah.
I have heard this song more times than I can count, and every time I listen to it, I feel like I should become an alcoholic and sit in a fucking cemetery. This musically, if this is what's going on in you guys' heads, I don't want to be inside that head.
Wow.
Because it was fucking depressing.
Well, I think it is meant to be depressing, yes.
Oh, I'm sure it is. And the reason I'm saying fuck you guys is because it was absolutely fucking gorgeous.
It is. This is one of my favorite ones. One of them. I like a few of them on this album, but this one was. And later, I'll tell you why. But
again, we have the guest vocalist back. And when I thought that the other song that he did was just a perfect, like, vocalization of a downward spiral, this is what true mourning sounds like, if you're going to vocalize it.
Right.
This is sorrow personified in vocal form.
Oh, for sure. This was so down.
And it's just fantastic. And I fucking love you guys for producing something like this. Funeral Doom needs to have more shit like this. Oh, okay. Overall thoughts, because fuck me, I feel like I have just lost everyone I've ever loved twice.
Right. It's very, very serious. It's very heavy. It's going to take you to your depths if you listen to it with that, open mind to the lyrics, open mind to the music. If you just put it on the background and run around,
this is not background music. This is not fucking background music. Because I felt like a fucking crying child listening to this, and I will emphasize, this is what Funeral Doom is.
Yeah.
This is how it's supposed to make you feel. This is why I do what I do here. This is why I created this fucking podcast to fucking begin with, is to find this kind of shit. Because bloody hell, it's awesome.
It is.
This is
great. It's a perfect album.
This album takes you on a journey that if you are not in the right mindset, I don't know what to say to you. You clearly do not understand what this band is about, first off.
Well, or the genre. You kind of have to be a little bit into it to really want to sit down and seriously listen to something like this. But it's probably most favorite music.
Oh, absolutely. See, this is why I have much love to these bands who have to obviously immerse themselves in this 24/7.
Yeah, they do. Mm-hmm.
Because when they are able to produce an album like this, all of that hard work and dedication pays off, and we get something like this. which, again, I say with much fucking love, just absolutely stellar album here. Musically, it's a masterpiece. This is almost like a magnum opus.
I agree.
Where we now talk about the lyrics, and I have to mention something. Upon reading and doing my research, this song is dedicated to a small child. Now, our condolences, of course, go out to the people involved, and I would just like to say that the words that are used in this song are absolutely fantastic and give off a sense that there is much love and loss.
Definitely.
And it is one hell of a way to start an album.
Yeah. I once again, because of that majestic sound, that grand sound to it, and the way the voices are. So there were several lines that really spoke to me. That, for me, the most interesting sort of repeated lines were, "And never once do stop. Halt this hurt for you and me. The last farewell to gay and glee. Halt this hurt for you and me."
No, those were actually my favorite lines as well. They solidify exactly how I think one would feel in this scenario.
Right, and the tone to it, because of the way they say "the last farewell to gay and glee." Beautiful.
It is an absolutely, again, an amazing song and amazing lyrics.
Yeah, the entire lyrics are beautiful. You really do need, when you listen to these songs, you really do need to place up the lyrics while you're listening, at least the first time, so you really get a sense of what the song is about. You know, yeah, it sounds great, but if you don't know what they're talking about, it's just some sound.
Right, because these words aren't just there to be pretty, like, vocalizations. These have meaning.
Well, the lyrics, especially if you just glance at them, they're very simplistic. And like I said, what happens, though, with the type of delivery that they're spoken or sung with, you get an emphasis on the words. So if you're just going to read it like a poem, blah, 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 it's not going to make as much sense as if you listen to the music and the delivery of the words. Mm-hmm. And once again, this is a fantastic song, or would be a fantastic song for someone to sing at a funeral. Whether the people are walking into the church or leaving or whatever. I'll just briefly read a little bit here. "Of yesteryear, tear upon tear, year upon year, never-ending sea of a perpetual fear." Now, it just sounds, simplistic when you read it, but when it's delivered, it's so sad.
Right. Right. But there's also that underlying tone of a commanding presence when it's delivered.
Right.
There is this idea that you must listen to each word and follow each word.
Right. Right.
There's because of the impact of what they mean.
Yeah, it's not just all blended together.
No.
It's like emphasized. So
right, because each word has a huge impact to what is going on in the overall, arcing story here.
So that you get the full meaning, right.
Right. Not one line here that is out of place or feels in the wrong area.
Yeah. They're not just being thrown in there because they rhyme or something like that. There's a reason.
As we've stated before, we've already covered this one, and again, I'm just going to reiterate my favourite part from this. "They know not my true fear, a chain of agony, no time for sorrow, procession of misery, no more tomorrow, no more grief tomorrow." This is just fantastic wordplay. and truly gets to that, like, precision point of what the overall, I feel, is the point. This is the expression of, I lost someone very close to me.
Yes.
And there is no other way to express it outside of, you will understand the simplistic concept of pain. I will make you understand my pain.
Yeah, it's actually very descriptive of it. I'm just going to read it. End this soul, this life of grief, with unreal austerity, violent demise. Here it lies, there it dies, a luminous stare of the frightenous eyes.
Poetic, beautiful, dark, and
Yikes.
fantastic.
Yeah, scary stuff, right? Yikes. So, I mean, look, bad shit happens in life.
It does, and I think that's what
we are
is
surrounded
the personification with this.
Yeah, sometimes we're surrounded by this tragedy. Unfortunately, it may not be our own tragedy, but because it's someone close, we feel that tragedy.
Yep.
It is an actual burial. To me, that's what this is. It's a description of an actual burial in, like, a very,
I'm going to say it. I think that there's an a small influence of the pain of Christ here.
Could be.
Simply due to the idea of rusty nails.
Yeah, the title, and,
this is almost like a metaphor of, like, I'll take the pain that Christ suffered, and I apply it to myself as I describe how I feel about losing people that are close to me. And obviously with that added concept that you were saying about, this burial type idea that, I feel like I am one with the grave now type feeling, that emotion of, like, I am at my lowest point here.
I'm picturing it like this. Someone watching an actual burial of someone they know, and they're feeling, as you said, like they're also, because it actually says it, ending of it all, grave opens wide, feel like I am the dead, but I am still alive. You've got it there.
Now, like we mentioned a bit earlier, we've already covered this one about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I'm simply just going to read my favourite line.
Okay.
Is this the end of the carol? Forever whispering of bones, like digging my own grave. My own grave. That perfectly sums up how the overall feeling of seeing someone die, go through the whole, burial process, and you ask yourself, do I join? Do I go forth?
Right.
Where do I go from here?
Well, it's really hard because when someone is fairly young, I'm not talking about really, really young, but you still have someone close to you die, you do begin to think about your own mortality. So whether you thought about that before or not, maybe you never thought about that before, and all of a sudden it's like in your face, oh my goodness, you mean this can happen and this can happen like that, and this young, and blah, blah, blah. Let me read my favorite parts. Down in your grave, and they would rape his soul again, and wanted him with death befriend. Lost yet another friend. Was this to be his own dead end?
Lyrically, this is heavy shit right here.
Right. And I do want to say, it's gorgeous, though.
It is. It is. It's absolutely beautiful.
It's so
right?
gorgeous. And it's like, how can such a gorgeous song be so darn sad? But it can. So there you go.
This is Funeraldom.
Beautiful. So please do listen to our review.
Okay. This is where it gets even more fucking heavy lyrically.
Well, and it's so descriptive and it's such a beautiful way
So again, I'm just gonna read a few lines here.
I bet I know what you're gonna read, but go ahead.
Oh, this will be interesting then. Let's see if she's right.
Let's see if it's the same. Go ahead.
Withered rose, the blood rose withers. A hand, stone cold, grave cold hand shivers.
Yep.
Just those words
Yep.
alone, I can envision an entire music video almost to this.
Well,
and it is goddamn
also,
depressing.
It has an image in those words of a very, I picture a gloomy, gothic-y sort of thing. Because I don't know, they're beautiful words.
They are. They are. The writing for this album is amazing. The choice of words, the word placement, the grasp of imagery that is being shown here.
So this is also
Jesus fucking Christ.
Song that to me represents after somebody dies and you have the feelings of your loss and everything, but it's also about the separation of the dead and the living. And my line here for that is, from the land of yesterday, suffer no more. A severed soul will wash away, severed with dismay. So it's very poetic, but it's so descriptive of that feeling of, it's almost like you could see someone floating away from you.
There's that isolation that is surrounding the lyrics. There is that, again, I sort of mentioned it a bit earlier, this idea that we have this Christ-like pain throughout, the suffering of the imagery of religious concepts here. But it's not used as an indirect shoved in the face. This is more of, I'm taking on that identity to describe my pain. So to break all hearts of men is to again share this experience with the world and watch everyone fall apart the same way.
Right. To basically describe it so that the world knows. That the world knows. And it is a universal thought. So there we go.
Exactly. This is a universal thing that people can get behind.
But I'm not going to be able to pronounce, but I'll try. So the name of this song is, I believe, Nar Kisten Sanctus. Now, the English meaning of that title is lowering the coffin.
Correct.
So what we did, we looked at the words in, hoping that Google translated it all right. So we looked at
we do apologize if we totally get this one wrong, but we're hoping that Google understands what the fuck's going on.
Google is not always perfect. So
Google, it's great, eh?
Yeah. So
with that in mind, guys, please do not shoot us if we get this completely wrong.
Let me just give our listeners a slight sampling of what it's about, just so they know, because we're just looking at them in Norwegian, but okay. Towards the dark edge of the forest, a cold and sorrowful buzz seen around tonight hurts my house, and then starts again with a whisper in the heavy crowns of the tree. So,
see, this is going to be an interesting...
It also talks about plaintive wailings, grief-heavy death songs. So you get a little bit, and it does describe a coffin being lowered. So this is kind of what it's about. So we can kind of get a...
So the general gist here then is the anticipation of going to the funeral.
It's an actual description even of the coffin and everything. So,
right, but what I'm saying is, you've got the small bit, there of the person wandering around maybe, the night before, having all these
just
thoughts.
Before the burial, before the coffin is shown or whatever, comes out or whatever. So, it's just, that's kind of what it is about.
Again, I'm going to have to sit and read the entire translation of it all to really get a bigger understanding of this, but fucking hell.
I know. I really actually like the words in English, but I bet that they sound better.
Oh, fantastic.
You know, yeah, because when you translate, you lose something in that poetical sense.
Right. Please excuse me while I go into the local liquor store and buy a giant bottle of booze, because I don't know if I can continue reading these lyrics again and not cry like a goddamn child.
Right. So, this is the meaning of the word just pure pain when people die for whatever reason. But if they're close to you, you're not expecting it, and it happens.
Right.
Whether accidental, their hand, or whatever, it's the gravity of it. This is what's weighing you down. It weighs you down. It crushes you.
And plus, this particular song, lyrically, sums up the entire album.
Now, I have a particular line that I love. It is such an unpalatable world.
Yep.
So, when we think about unpalatable, it means distasteful. So, it is. World is hard. Our world is rough. Being in this world is not an easy thing.
It's not a fun experience most of the time.
Most of the time, there's a lot of crap going on. You've got problems, you've got issues, you've got to deal with this, deal with that, blah, blah, blah. This is happening over here, this is happening over here.
Right. See, that's why the line that I chose here, and again, I also chose your line as well, but seeing as you beat me to it, is one last fall, and then forever winter. So how do we usually visualize winter being cold, dark, and dead? Because there's no life really in winter. It's, the leaves of the trees have all fallen off. The tree itself is practically dead for all intents and purposes. Yeah. You don't see many people running around happy during winter. It's very bleak in and of itself, like just the whole landscape of it all. And like I said, this song is a summarization of not only one's own mourning and mortality being brought into the mix, but a summation of the album. This is what it's about.
Right.
3 men that were cherished are no longer with us.
Right.
Album art. This segment, I feel, is a fun one. after doing all of the tragedy and melancholy and stuff, let's have a bit of fun here. What you guys are seeing is the image of the actual album front cover. The colouring is actually really nice. I love the contrasting colours here. With the skull.
It's rather simplistic. I like it though. It has a smoky sort of background. It's not over the top on anything. It's just very, here we are.
Straight to the point. That's why I like it.
Straight to the point. That's what it is.
Like, the less is more approach is what we have.
Yes. And it's well executed.
Because we have, the 3 rusty nails through the skull.
Yep.
And it, like you said, it has this sort of smoky effect. So what would you give the album cover out of 10 then?
A 9.
Okay. You're gonna give it a 9. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to give it a 9.5.
Well, if we meet in the middle, it would be a 9.25.
Okay then. Okay. I will succumb to it.
Okay.
Album score.
Yeah. Well, we know the answer.
Well, I know the answer, but do you?
Yeah, I know the answer.
Well, what's your answer?
10 out of 10.
I'm going to have to go for 11 out of 10, I'm sorry.
There you go.
I'm just going to have to be difficult.
I was going to say a 10 plus.
It is. It absolutely fucking is.
It is. Truly
one
of the very best, if not the best, Funeral Doom album I've heard.
Right? There's no way you could not sit and listen to this and not go, oh, this is, high-end shit right here.
Exactly. It's got a little bit of everything in there as far as musicality, voices, and then the meaning is just so extremely real. I'm in
Album
a very
of the fucking year. I don't care. Album of the year.
okay. Look, I'm in a really pensive mood because it is hard to review something that is so heavy. And sometimes I'm a lot more lighthearted than this, but truly, this one will do this to you. So yeah, I mean, album of the year, which would include all genres.
Oh, absolutely. I'm saying with confidence that if this isn't on everybody's playlist by the end of the year, I have to seriously ask, do you understand music? Do you comprehend the English language? Do you comprehend any language, for that matter?
Right.
Do you understand what artistic integrity is?
So
Do you?
This album incorporates all of that.
From start to finish, you get what is, by the very definition of the word, funeral doom. Period. Well, that's going to do it from us here, mourners. Until next time, remember, every day is a funeral.